The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the August 10th, 2023 work session. May I have a second for the approval of the minutes? Been moved and seconded. Any questions? Please vote. We have 7. 1, 2, 3. No, we have the right 7. Just not the right. Not everybody has voted. Stacy, are you in favor of adopting the minutes? Okay, she votes in the affirmative. There we go. The minutes have been adopted. The next item on the agenda is an update on the reefing project. You may have seen this in the media, both social media and traditional media. But as you may know, MARTA is partnering with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources to contribute rail cars from MARTA's original fleet to the Reef Project, a program that deploys large objects to the bottom of the ocean over time to develop reef habitats for marine wildlife. Reefing is the most affordable and environmentally responsible way to reuse these retired rail cars, and we hope to provide more in the future. 2 older model rail cars that you see here on the slide have been stripped of hazardous materials and inspected and approved by the U.S. Coast Guard for deployment as artificial reef material. And I'm updating y'all now because they were transported by truck from MARTA's South Yard to the East Coast Terminal in Savannah this week. And Mayor Floyd, I'm pleased to report, I think I saw from your facial reaction, because it mirrored mine, especially since it didn't go through the committee due to time constraints, a little bit of sticker shock about that. And I'm pleased to report that it came nowhere close to costing that much. And it was done in a very, very affordable manner that Ms. Allen can discuss a little bit more. And working with DNR and the Coast Guard, we found out that in the future, they will probably handle the environmental remediation for us, and we'll just have to give them the cars. So it's very exciting. I hope that this is a permanent partnership. We'll move on to the next slide.
I'm just wondering about the wisdom of sending our old cars before we get our new cars.
When the conditions are optimal, they will be deployed by barge to artificial reef L. Chief Grayer, mark that down so we can go fishing. An established reef about 2 square miles in size, and it's approximately 23 nautical miles off Ossabaw Island, and they'll go down into about 55 or 65 feet of water. The fish and marine life, such as sea turtles, are likely to investigate the new habitat almost immediately. Coral, sponge, and encrusting organisms will begin to take hold on the rail cars in about 1 year and will continue to grow and improve the longer they're in the ocean. Scuba divers and anglers can begin using the reef immediately. As you can see here, I believe these are MTA cars from New York City, but our rail cars will join previously deployed materials, including U.S. Army M60 battle tanks, barges, tugboats, MTA cars from New York City, and other man-made structures. And DNR is aiming for an October deployment of the MARTA rail cars. Details will be shared with all of you if you'd like to make a trip down to Savannah for those festivities. We have found out that the actual boat trip out to where they're being deployed is about a 10-hour enterprise since they're going so far off. So I don't know how many people want to sign up to do 10 hours on the open seas, but we'll certainly have some events in Savannah to celebrate this, and I'm very excited about it. So I wanted y'all to have that update. The next item on the chair's report, I promise I won't get cheesy like my predecessor, Robbie Ash, but I do want to announce our new baby girl that was born last Tuesday. And so today is the first day of adult conversation I've had in 10 days. And I'm very excited to see all of you here. So with that, that concludes my chair report, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Greenwood for the CEO and GM's report.
Thank you, Chairworthy, and congratulations to you, Karen, and the family with the new addition. We're excited for you. Chairworthy just talked about what we're doing with the old rail cars, so it's fitting that we talk about out with the old and in with the new. I'm going to invite Connie Krisak.
We queued this up for you, Mayor Floyd.
I'm going to invite Connie Krisak via Teams, who's on board now, to walk you through the latest in the new car in the CQ400.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chairman Worthy, Mr. Greenwood, and members of the board. I wanted to give you a brief update of the CQ400 progress and to just show you some pictures of the latest and greatest. Next. So I wanted to show you the schedule to start off, although it looks crazy, and it is crazy, but it is meticulously produced and looked at. This is the Stadler schedule that they use to map out every single week of progress that these vehicles will adhere to. But all in all, I want to assure you that the vehicles are still within our schedule. Now, the first one is still due to arrive in Atlanta on November of 2024, or perhaps even earlier. The first train to go into revenue service will be July of 2025, or perhaps even earlier. And I say that because the schedule allows for all kinds of things to go a little extra or go a little earlier, so we can accommodate the schedule. And with great surety, we are told by Stadler that we will meet all of the revenue service that for our trains that they have committed to. Next. So in this picture, you see how the trains arrive at the Stadler facility in Salt Lake City from Europe. They are primed. Once they're primed and they're received, the first thing that happens to our vehicles, to the train bodies, is that they are actually painted. The painting facility is at Salt Lake City. They put them in that area of the paint booth, and they put the final coats and the clear coat that you see on this train on the right side. Next. So this next shows you once they're painted and they're brought back into the shop area, all of the brackets start to go in place. Now, all of these brackets have been meticulously located with lasers and reconfirmed the location. So everything that goes on the walls, on the ceiling, and on the floor is very precisely located. At this point, you see some of the brackets, and you start seeing the floor that is being covered, and the walls will also be covered with this foam insulation around. So it'll be on the walls and on the floor, and you see the floor now. Now, the next picture is the final picture, but it shows you how everything is laid out. Most of the stuff that is inserted into the vehicle for assembly is already pre-measured and is very quickly inserted into the train. This is the next floor system that goes in there, and it's a matter of hours or less that this floor will be placed in there and be put in place for very quickly. So everything is very carefully thought of, and at the same time that all this assembly is happening inside the trains, there are hundreds of components that are being built, assembled, and placed together for a quick installation once it gets to the Stadler facility. And this is happening with vendors from all across the world and across the U.S. This is the final picture. But this is very exciting, and I hope it's as exciting for you to see the progress and to see that things are happening and they're moving rather fast. If I will take any questions that you may have, thank you very much.
Any questions from the board?
Thank you, Connie. The next item that I wanted to talk about on the agenda is just an update on the MARTA City of Atlanta audit. So we have a few slides to share with you up on the deck. And once those come online, we'll start talking. There we go. So this is basically, you can see in front of you what the City of Atlanta Department of Finance has asked to get involved with. I won't read the slide to you, but you can see their focus on financial operations as well as overall performing an operational audit of the MARTA program. Some key points down below there where they've engaged Malden and Jenkins to conduct the audit. It's fully funded by the city, and their audited timeline, it's listed as from inception through June 30th, so the end of FY23. Now, inception could be somewhat nebulous. There are a couple of points in time that I'll bring to your attention. Firstly, that the referendum was passed in November of 2016. Secondly, that the sales tax collection began on April 1st of 2017. And finally, that MARTA had began the enhanced bus service ahead of that in January of 2017. So those are the three dates on which inception could be pinned, but regardless, we're moving forward with that information in mind. Next slide talks about the documents that are being requested. So you can see a list of documents here under the program information and organization. Again, I won't read out all the requests and requirements to you, but you can see there that it's an extensive list of various documents, including personnel's, org charts, bylaws, intergovernmental agreements, sequencing plans, implementation plans, ranging back from 2016 and moving forward in various areas. On the next slide, the documents requested focus on financial information. So, there's financial reports from FY17 through 23, chart accounts, budget documents, revenue details, expenditure details by category, and listing of all funding sources other than MARTA half-cent sales tax used for more MARTA projects in Atlanta streetcar. So the next slide, more documents in the area of transparency and reporting. So 10 different categories listed here, quarterly reports, public financial reports, the various presentations that we've been involved with, formal communications, meeting notes, communications, outreach, or marketing plans for the More MARTA program and or individual More MARTA funded projects. Next slide is bus operations documents requested. Again, this is More MARTA specific, but they're talking about the daily bus service level data for the last 10 years. And there's a host of different subcategories there that for documents that they are requesting. Moving on to the next gen bus, which is the bus network redesign, the project, the design planning documents, and of course quarterly bus fleet inventories from 2017 till 2023. Overleaf, we also have documents requested owing to capital project planning. And again, you can see a list of 5 different categories here. Again, I won't go into the details, but you can see that it is an exhaustive list. And the next slide talks about addendum documents required for public information. So the contract, the bylaws, the MARTA Act, the One Atlanta Transportation Strategic Plan, and the technical summary. So exhaustive list, but the update is that MARTA is underway in terms of compiling these documents, and we will work with the City of Atlanta and their assigned group, and we will make sure that we respond to these requests in as timely a manner as possible. So really the point of this was to let you know that the requests have been made, compilation is underway, and we expect to continue down this path as a partnership with the City of Atlanta. Questions? I'm through, yeah.
You know, some of this seems almost like harassment to me. I hope that, I'm not saying we shouldn't cooperate with them, because I do think that, but I hope that MARTA will keep up with the time and the cost that we are associated with complying with what they're asking for. And at the appropriate time, this board decide whether that should be something, if Atlanta's gonna fully fund this thing, which I think is appropriate, then fully funding it means they pay us for the time that we put into it, especially if they don't find anything wrong. And I just hope that we can, and that this board will receive updates on the time and the effort that goes into doing that. I'm not saying it's not warranted, but I'm saying it is, in some case, tedious to keep up with this. So anyway, I just hope you'll keep up with the time and the money and give this board periodic updates on what it's costing MARTA to comply with what they're asking for.
We will do, Director Floyd. We will keep a clean accounting of the time and effort and update the board as appropriate. All right. Next item on the agenda, I wanted to talk about some changes in the C team. So, I'll start with, unfortunately, Luz Barrero is not with us today. She couldn't make it. She had an appointment and engagement that she couldn't tear herself away from. But I wanted to advise the board that Luz is retiring. And Luz is our Chief Administrative Officer. She's been with MARTA since January of 2019. Luz, as you know, is a mission-driven champion for transparency and process resilience. So she's been instrumental in MARTA's recent success. She has worked with her team to transform business functions here at MARTA, helped us respond to big issues ranging from, budget encumbrance to extreme recruitment to employee communication throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Friday, September 22nd is Luz's final day in the office, and so I hope that you will join me in thanking Luz for her time here and wishing her well in her hard-earned retirement. I want to recognize also that MARTA is taking the opportunity to recognize a restructuring advantage in Luz's departure. We're going to be bringing IT and research and analysis into formal connection with the Office of Customer Experience under Rhonda Allen. Those functions are best seen as tools to deliver on the customer experience, and so we think that there's a really good synergy to be had there. Information security will form in under legal with Peter Andrews, and human resources labor relations under our Chief of Staff and Administration, Melissa Mullinax. This will streamline the C team. It'll improve communication and engagement between key departments who are frequently working together and required to partner together on larger initiatives. So there's an opportunity there. But again, please join me in wishing Luz well in her long-earned, long-deserved retirement. Also, in the vein of C-Team changes, it's a bittersweet as we say goodbye to our CFO, Raj Srinath. Raj is here with us. He'll be moving on as our Chief Financial Officer. Raj began in January of 2021, and I remember we immediately began courting bond rating agencies shortly after that, and Raj was instrumental in securing the AAA bond ratings that we've been talking about over the past year. It's a highly unusual status in transit. Less than 6 transit agencies in the country have enjoyed that status, and that's largely due to the hard work of Raj and his team. Raj also spearheaded the issuance of third-party verified green bonds, and that was a first for MARTA. And he's also streamlined the budget process and again resulted in a balanced budget with surplus at a time when other transit agencies are teetering on the edge of the fiscal cliff. So I would say, though, Raj's finest achievement was in mentoring his team in finance and in procurement to improve practices, skill sets, and professional careers. And while he's setting sails for a new chapter, we wish him well. Raj's final day will be Friday, October 6, 2023. And when I talk about his mentoring and preparing his team members, that allows Kevin Hurley, who's the Deputy Chief, Finance and Treasury, to step into Raj's position on an interim basis while we conduct a search. Kevin has previously acted as interim CFO. He's worked closely with Raj over the past 3 years, and of course has a long and extensive career here at MARTA prior to that. It's important continuity that Kevin is affording us as we head into that national recruitment process for this position. So Raj Srinath, on behalf of MARTA, I want to thank you for your service and offer you a moment to say a few words if you wish.
Thank you, Carly. I don't think I can add anything to what you just said. Thank you very much for your support. Thank the board for your support as well. And most importantly, thanks to my staff who made me look good and my colleagues too. So thank you all. Wish you all the best. And I'm around for another 3 weeks. But many of you have my personal phone number and contact information. I'm still going to be in the transit industry, about 345 miles south of this place, but in a different town, different state. But I'm still going to be around in the industry. Hope to run into some of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Next on the agenda, I wanted to just talk about service improvement update. We've been talking about rail. We've been talking about the old rail cars, the new rail cars, and I just wanted to recognize George Wright and his team in rail in terms of the efforts that have been happening of late. And most recently, of course, is in August 26th, our peak hour train service has been improved. It's gone from 15 minutes to 12 minutes in terms of headways, the time spent between trains, and that is system-wide. Even though that this slide is really just talking about one specific area in Midtown, the effects are felt all over, and the improvement is implemented all over. So going from 15-minute headways to 12-minute headways system-wide, of course that means in the trunk between Lindbergh and Airport, you're experiencing a train every 6 minutes, and that's more the timing that our customers have come to appreciate, and we're happy to say that we brought that back. While the target for on-time performance is 95%, I'm really proud of the operations team. They're bringing in somewhere in the neighborhood of 97% on-time performance with this new expanded schedule. So hats off to the team for doing that. We've got, there's scheduling improvements involved, there's workforce improvements involved in bringing this about, and it's the result of adding essentially 4 trains into our overall service during the peak hours. And when I say peak, I'm talking about 5 a.m. till 9 a.m. and 2:30 in the afternoon until 8 p.m. So that's an extensive amount of time that we're sharing this benefit with our customers. And of course, this is over and above the special concert kudos that we often talk about. We're proud of, Taylor Swift concerts, Janet Jackson concerts. We're ready for Lionel Messi when he comes on Saturday. All these special events, that's good. But this excites me because it's a daily improvement for our core customers, and so we're really, really pleased about that. And with that, Chairworthy, let me just talk about some upcoming events, if you don't mind. We've got the regular board committee meetings that are in your packets. We've got the Riders Advisory Council on October 4th. We've got the MAC Committee on November 14th, and we have an upcoming APTA Transform Conference in Orlando on October the 8th. And with that, I'll return to you.
Thank you, Mr. Greenwood. The next item on the agenda will be executive session for the purpose of real estate litigation and personnel. May I have a motion to move this board into executive session? Moved by Durrett, seconded by Pond. meeting. The first item on the agenda is public comment. Mr. Andrews, do we have any public comment by phone or email?
Yes, sir. We have 4 emails, one from Daniel Mason, one from Stephanie Blades, 3 from Stephanie Blades. All 4 of them will be put verbatim into the minutes of your next agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. Next, we'll move to in-person public comment. We just have one that is signed up for today, Ms. Judith Sullivan.
My name is Judy Sullivan, as you heard. I came here a couple of years ago with the same.
Ms. Sullivan, can you pull the mic down?
Yes.
Thank you. That's
Okay,
perfect.
all right. I came about 2 years ago with the same observations, and they really haven't been addressed. And it seems to me there's a lack of concern or appreciation of the situation, so I'm just going to review it again, please. First of all, I'm a home care nurse. And before that, I was in Wall Street. I supervised operations and banking and insurance companies. Anyway, so I live in Campbellstone Senior Residence. You may be familiar with it. I'm coming representing them and Cathedral Towers there on Peachtree Road, just south of Farr Road. And there seems to be, as I say, a lack of concern because of the inaction regarding issues that I've put before. In 2018, I visited here at the headquarters, and you know, the MARTA on the Go app, a board member told me they say they're working on it, but only thing done was to reload the app. And the reviews on the Google Store app are they're full of bugs, it goes down. I do see some improvement in the app, I'll give you that much. But the thing is, the Georgia Tech designed an app that serviced those who live far from public transportation, which was only a temporary app in place for only several months. The priority should have been the MARTA on the Go app to be redone by Georgia Tech. I don't get it. Also, GPS on the buses need to be maintained so we know if the bus is coming or not. The excuse was not enough mechanics. You know, I waited for a year to find out from the head of IT and buses, and they said, oh, we found out there's not enough mechanics. But with all the canceled buses due to lack of drivers, those funds can go to overtime for the mechanics to do one-time fix of the GPS, just to make it usable for the riders. You know, and it's a hardship in the cold weather to be waiting, you know, oh, the bus is coming or not. And the app went down last weekend, and I was going to a friend in the hospital, Piedmont Hospital, you know, to deliver some things, and I waited like an hour to get home. So, you know, it just needs to be work done that I feel hasn't been addressed at all, and it's been years. I moved down here from New York City 2017, and these haven't been addressed, and I'm like, are they accountable to anybody? I've talked to Deborah Silcox, you know who she is. She's the head of the House Committee. She's in my church, Peachtree Pres, and I expressed my concerns to her. Also, one extra thing, I know you're short on drivers. It'd be nice to have back that east-west bus that went across on Peachtree Hills Avenue back around 2007 when I was down here visiting. I know you're short of drivers, so I can't expect it, but there's nothing really going east-west, north of Midtown. But that I know is probably not possible. But it just seems like there's a lack of concern or accountability. You know, this has been years, but that's it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Ms. Allen, can you get with Ms. Sullivan to talk especially about the app part? Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is approval of the August 10th, 2023 board meeting minutes. I would like to move for approval of those minutes. May I please have a second? It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please vote. And the minutes have been adopted. We'll now move on to the consent agenda with committee reports, starting with the Business Management Committee. Chairman Durrett.
Mr. Chairman, the Business Management Committee met on Thursday, August 24th, 2023, and approved the following resolutions. A, resolution authorizing the solicitation of proposals for the procurement of MARTA's Mystery Customer Program, RFP P50370. B, resolution authorizing renewal of privacy and network security cyber liability insurance coverage. C, resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the procurement of SolarWinds annual maintenance and upgrade support, IFB B50300. D, resolution authorizing the award of a contract for maintenance support for Cisco SmartNet devices and Cisco ISE, RFPP P50362, utilizing the Federal General Services Administration and State of Georgia contract. And E, resolution authorizing a modification and contractual authorization for professional services for the redesign of decentralized Active Directory environments, LOA L39801. I request approval of these resolutions.
Chairman Durrett has moved for approval of these resolutions. Can I get a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please vote. The resolutions pass.
The committee also received the following briefing, fiscal year 23 year-end financial highlights. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Chairman Durrett. Next, we will hear from the Planning and Capital Programs Committee, Chairwoman Blakely.
Mr. Chairman, the Planning and Capital Programs Committee met on Thursday, August 24th, 2023, and approved the following resolutions. A, excuse me, resolution authorizing the solicitation of proposals for final design services of the track and isolation integrity monitoring system. B, resolution authorizing the disposal of a permanent easement to the City of Brookhaven in support of the City Hall development. I request approval of these resolutions.
Chairwoman Blakely have moved approval of those resolutions. Can I get a second? It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please vote. The resolutions are adopted.
The committee also received the following briefing, DBE performance on infrastructure and construction contracts. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Chairwoman Blakely. Next, we will hear from the Operations and Safety Committee, Chairman Pond.
Mr. Chairman, the Operations and Safety Committee met on Thursday, August 24th, 2023, and approved the following resolutions. A, resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the procurement of pest control services for MARTA's vehicles, IFB B50304. B, resolution authorizing the award of a contract for procurement of police ballistic vest and carriers, IFB B50297. And C, resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the procurement of non-revenue vehicles, RFPP P50285, utilizing the State of Georgia contract. I request approval of these resolutions.
Chairman Pond has moved for approval of those resolutions. Is there a second? It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Please vote. The resolutions are adopted.
The committee received the following briefing, electrical bus fleet charging infrastructure. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Chairman Pond. Next item on the agenda are other matters. We have 3 matters coming to us from the executive session. Mr. Andrews.
Thank you, sir. The first one is I need a motion to approve a settlement in the property damage claim of Valerie Daniels in the amount of $213,828.
I will entertain a motion to approve this property settlement claim, moved by Mr. Durrett, seconded by Mr. Frierson. Any discussion? This will be a hand vote. All in favor of the property settlement claim, please raise your hand. Unanimous with Commissioner McMurray abstaining. Mr. Andrews.
The second matter is seeking approval of a settlement in the amount of $225,000 in the lawsuit of Nayati Harris versus MARTA.
Mr. Durrett moves for approval of this settlement. Do I see a do I have a second? Seconded by Ms. Ide. Any discussion? This too will be a hand vote. All in favor of the settlement, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Unanimous with Commissioner McMurray abstaining.
The final matter is, I'll be seeking a motion to approve and ratify the employment agreement between the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority and colleague Greenwood, effective January 2nd, 2023.
Moved by Mr. Pond, seconded by Mr. Durrett. Any discussion? All in favor of ratifying the contract with Mr. Greenwood? Any opposed? Unanimous with Commissioner Murray abstaining. Are there any comments to come from the board?
Mr. Chairman, recently you had several people from MARTA, who I won't try to name them, colleague Greenwood was there, at a DeKalb Municipal Association meeting, and I wanted to thank them for coming to that and their participation in it, and I had a lot of good comments from the DeKalb organization, so thank to MARTA for doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Floyd. Any other comments? Mr. Durrett?
I'd like to recognize that a number of people associated with MARTA attended the regional link trip that the Atlanta Regional Commission hosted to go up to Montreal, including colleague Greenwood and Melissa and Valencia and maybe someone else.
I was supposed to go, but the baby.
Yeah, but the baby. It was a very successful trip. Transit was a big part of it, and Collie did an excellent job representing MARTA in the conversations about transit. So just wanted you guys to know.
Thank you, Mr. Durrett. Mr. Frierson?
Yes, I just want to recognize that I had attended an event that the Georgia Piedmont Technical College gave with their ribbon cutting event for their regional transportation center that's in the Lithonia community of DeKalb County. They are opening a transit center that will be a center for students to enroll in not only operating buses and trains but also maintenance and electrical engineering. And so it's a great opportunity for us in that part of the community to bring transit training systems, training services in a college, in a place where we can begin to develop workforce in this space that we work in. So I was glad to represent MARTA in that ribbon cutting event.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frierson. Any other comments from board members? Having no other business to come before the board, we will stand adjourned. Thank you very much.